Uh, there we go. All right, so it's recording.
What are we drinking?
All right, guys, welcome to second episode of Poppin' Toppin'. We have this past week's winner, Layne Riggs. What's up, man?
What's up? How are y'all? I just saw you a little while ago at pit practice running some
I know, right?
quick stops. So
Hey,
here
how
we
did it
are.
go? How was it having a different pit crew?
It was good for y'all. It was really bad for them. They were horrendous. So, some days I think you guys aren't that great, but I realize that y'all are really, really good.
I'm gonna
No,
remember that forever.
they were horrible.
They were horrible.
They
And
were
that was the
horrible.
road
I
guys?
think their best stop was like a 35.
Oh my gosh.
It was pretty bad.
Dude,
So
Wow.
Alex texted me about an hour ago. And I was like, dude, I can totally be a jack man. And I was like, oh yeah. And then he sends me a video of him like three pumping the right side and the left side.
yeah, it was
I
really
was
bad.
I was like, fuck yeah, man, you do your thing. Like
Yeah, yeah, you're so close, brother. Just keep going. Chase your dreams.
yeah. I was like, you sick to be in the truck chief, man. I think that's a
Yeah,
better
for
fit for
sure.
you.
I really hope we don't have to do a live stop. We
You're
ended up
gonna
actually
miss us.
changing. It was going to be Fink was going to be the carrier, but he just didn't have enough meat on his bones to carry the tires. So Jonathan's going to carry now, which is going to be very interesting.
Oh
So
my God.
yeah,
That's hilarious. That's
yeah, I'll send
awesome
you the
though.
videos. They're funny.
I need to test my hand at just anything pit stop related. I think the closest I've come was middle school at the NASCAR Hall of Fame.
Yeah, you can do it.
I
Everybody
mean,
can
Yeah.
do it.
it seems to
How
be in
good
my
you can do
genes a
it.
little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, for sure.
But yeah.
I mean, even Lane hit lug nuts earlier, so that was awesome.
Nice.
I thought I was actually okay. Like if I actually had to practice and do it, like I don't think I'd be that bad. So
Yeah, no, I mean,
yeah,
anybody that practices,
But you
you'll
had to get
figure it
out and
out.
do it yourself. It could
Yeah.
be
yeah, exactly.
potentially a little bit faster.
I might have to this weekend. So
It'd be kind of like
we'll
pulling
see.
like Dale Earnhardt Sr. What was it, Richmond, when he was cleaning the
Got out
window?
and clean the windshield off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could just see Lane now, like, damn it, Clark. Like, come on, man. But
Yeah.
so, Owen, what are you drinking tonight?
I'm calling back to last week, and I actually bought a true Mexico. Went all the way
Okay.
down to Tijuana, but just 3 hours south of me. But no, I'm just kidding. In California, we have the luxury of having Mexico just about anywhere you go. So that's what I brought today.
Heck yeah. All right, Lane, what are you drinking, man?
I thought it was alcoholic, so I brought a margarita. It's got
Yeah,
salsa in
that's
There
it,
you
what
go.
dude, that's what I'm
and
doing. I'm doing the Bud
it
Light.
is pretty stout too.
Oh, there
So
we go.
I like
Strong.
it. I like my tequila.
I can transition to alcohol. I just wanted to show Blake that we actually do have it out here. He didn't believe me last week. He was a bit too wired up for me to calm him down with it. But yeah,
Dude.
Nice.
I
Yeah,
got
last
my.
week was a rough episode after Mexico. So I had some
I
steam to
bet.
blow off. But
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah,
yeah,
I'll
I'm
switch
drinking a
my
Bud
drink
Light.
over just so I'm not the odd man out. I'll be right back. You can
Owen's
enjoy
gonna
Lucy back here
Owen's
real
gonna
quick.
upgrade to some
This will be my
alcohol.
stand-in.
But dude, I got this little thing off TikTok shop and it's a fucking bottle opener. Check this out.
Dude, that's kind of sick.
Right? It was like $6. I was like, I
They
gotta
didn't have
grab it.
that. They hadn't. I can't believe they just now waited to
All
invent
right.
that.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Owen, you'll
My
have to see that later.
what?
I got this little bottle opener off TikTok shop
Oh,
and it
is that
just
one you just like?
yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty sick.
I used the one that I got from or I bought for
I've
y'all
used
for the wedding.
I've used
So
that a few times. It's pretty cool.
yeah, it's not
But
bad. I keep it in a while. Now I have a ranch rider, which is a ranch water. Yeah, ranch water. So just tequila and just straight up tequila in a can. That's all it is.
nice.
It's
Not
actually
bad.
I
really
think
good.
I
It
think
tastes
Lindsay's gonna enjoy that when she comes home and your clothes are off and you're
she
just running around your house.
Yeah.
she will be home in probably the middle of this. She's on her way back now. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Well, Lane, I guess first things first, dude, how did it feel to get to victory lane regular season, not postseason?
Yeah.
I feel a weight's lifted off my shoulders. How do you feel?
Yeah. I feel the same way. I think that, all these races were just we were having to go into them like, okay, solid finish, for fifth place, we'll just finish fifth. Don't make any dumb moves, which I still have. But, now I just feel like we can just fully go after it and just focus on the ones that matter, which is our playoff races. And if that means saving a truck that we know is a little better than another, or using some of the inventory that we didn't really want to use now to save our stuff to have the absolute best we can when it counts, that's what we need to do. And now we have that advantage where we can do that.
Right.
Other teams they've already been in that ballpark for a while. We're getting to the game a little late, but at least we're still there. We get to do it, and I think we would have pointed our way in no matter what. If we didn't have any more DNFs or wrecks or stuff. If we just ran like we've been running, we were gonna point our way in. But it's a lot nicer just to be able to relax, go to the racetrack, get points, and if something doesn't go our way at the end of a race, late race restart wreck, it's like, hey, well, it happens. It's not like a detriment to our whole season now. So
Yeah.
I feel like we're in a
100%.
really good spot.
Yeah, I agree. I came home and told Sam, I'm like, I went to bed. It was Saturday night when we got home from the Xfinity race, and I was just talking to her, and I'm like, I feel so much better now. Like the past weeks, it was like Nashville. We came home, and I felt the Nashville race for days. I was just like, man, we lost that for you. Um, I know some of it's just learning curves. Like we tried some different setup things this year, or just some things that didn't happen to us last year. Young Jackman with Landon, and things he didn't know what to look for. So some of it was just fine tuning those small details, but. I felt it till like Wednesday after Nashville. I'm like, I can't believe like, we kind of just we lost that many spots and you didn't have enough time to make it up. So
Yeah.
I felt that one for days. But to get the redemption at Pocono, the place that last year we literally didn't even get to have like, I mean, I probably speak for both of us. We didn't have fun at Pocono last year, right?
Yeah.
Like
Pocono was not fun.
it
That was my
was
most hated racetrack on the schedule.
yeah, and to come out here and get the pole, the fastest lap, get a stage win, and then win the race. I was like, that was pretty freaking sick. Like to go out and get everything we got out of it, plus to the trophy. That's one of my favorite trophies I've seen. That was
That's
pretty
a
sick.
Fourth of July trophy. I was
It
telling
was.
Yeah.
Blake
It's
that's the most
pure
American trophy
blown
I've seen.
American. It's literally the track, American flag, bald
Yep.
eagle. Get
Yeah.
it?
Yep. Can't get any better than that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So,
it's
seriously.
literally pure blown American. But no, I feel that same way. It's like we were so close, just had our mishaps, but now it's all like, oh well, that didn't really matter now. It's like now
yeah, it's like who
it's all
cares?
good. But you know, I looked at it this way: we are peaking at the right time. And I think I might have
Oh
told you
yeah.
this, but we are peaking right when it matters. I've seen other teams this year really peak early in the season, do great, and then kind of like
Feel like they're
struggling
tapering
right now,
off.
and just yeah, kind of like not really completing it and like keep going. Right now, it's like we were kind of bumping the road, going up and up and up, and now we're peaking right when it's counting. So
100%.
I just really hope that we can keep that speed up. And it's funny enough that truck at Pocono we won with was the same truck we had at Nashville, debuted at Nashville. It's our newest truck, newest build, best of the best we got. It almost won Nashville and it won Pocono. So
Yeah.
it shows how good our equipment is. So like that one, its sister truck that's being built right now that's going to be just like it, and like a couple other ones are like the ones we need to save for the
Hmm.
playoffs and just try to run the best of the rest for the rest of the regular season. Which I mean, we're not really running any intermediates anymore. It's more short
Right.
tracks courses, but still, just that mindset.
Absolutely. It's funny you mentioned that. I was talking to Owen about us using the Nashville truck for Pocono, and I
Mhm.
said if there's any kind of silver lining, it's pretty cool that the truck that should have won Nashville, we took to Pocono and we did win. So,
Yeah,
Owen actually wanted to ask you a question about that, I believe, from 10
Oh yeah,
away.
I asked
Was
Blake at
how does the inventory
yeah.
stuff work for the parts and how many times a year do we build new trucks? Because I didn't have a great answer for it.
Yeah. He knew
yeah, for
nothing.
sure. I it kind of depends. Right now, we're really in a rhythm, pumping out new trucks, and this is the first year we're actually building our trucks from scratch. Like
Mm.
every single tube, bar, and piece of the body started off as just stock from the store, and that we're
Wow.
building from scratch with our own jigs. There's so much that goes into building them. But I'd say from bare bones, like you're laying the frame rails out to when it's in the shop like ready to just assemble the parts into it, I would say that takes 2.5, 3 weeks
Mm.
per truck.
Mm,
Wow.
Um, and usually they're overlapping at the same time. So like start to finish 2.5, but then the chassis works on it for a week, and then it moves on. So I'd
Yeah.
say we could get a new one every week and a half, 2 weeks.
well, that's pretty cool. I didn't
So
even
it's
know that.
What is
yeah,
like a truck like if you the truck life of like say the truck you have right now that you just won at Pocono, if you don't like wreck it, how long will that truck last before you just naturally replace it?
yeah, really. I mean, it they just kind of date out. Like
Hmm.
they don't get worse. It's just the new ones are better. So that we'll just phase the older ones out. So like
Jackson Storm arrives, in
exactly,
cars.
we're phasing the older ones out. Like we have some that Todd Gilliland ran
Oh
back
wow.
in the day.
Was that
It's funny.
4 or 5 years
Yeah,
ago?
yeah, like 2020. Uh, one of our trucks is like a 2016 chassis. It's funny,
Whoa.
this truck that we have that we're running this weekend, our road course truck, it's the one that Zane won with 3 times in a row at Coda.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and that's the only races it's ran. And then ran it last year and was so fast. So it's got,
So I
and he ran
was
it at Ohio too. But yeah, it's like that truck's like 5 years old, but it just kind of depends. Like your super speedway trucks, which usually get destroyed anyways, they they phase out because they get wrecked.
Yeah.
The road course trucks usually last the longest, just because like
okay.
you don't really see that many wrecks and they don't really update them that much. The intermediates phase out the quickest because those are the ones being updated. Those are the ones that the bodies matter the most, the underside matters the most, and then the short track trucks are kind of in that range. Like they usually get hurt pretty bad too. So it just kind of depends. We have 4 different types of trucks we have to have. We said you have to have a super speedway truck. It only goes to super speedways, which is Daytona, Talladega. You got short track trucks, which only goes to stuff less than a mile. And then you got your road course stuff, and then you got your intermediate stuff. So there's 4 different styles. And then you got to have multiple for each team, plus a backup every weekend. So it's just, we
It's a
own,
lot, man.
yeah, we own probably 25, 30 trucks.
See, I try to
And
make this argument for my wife where we need 4 different cars. We need our road
yeah,
trip car, we need our city car, we just need the car I like.
exactly. That's how
You
this
need the
is.
car for her.
Yeah, we need the car to take the dog to the vet. Actually, I'm a detailer out here, and I have a client. They had a Mercedes that they just didn't trade in, but they just bought like a huge stockpile of Teslas. And they're like, yeah, we just use the Mercedes to take the dog to the vet. It's like,
That's insane.
yeah.
Yeah, I could talk for hours about it all, but the good thing is we're on track right now. We're building new stuff. We're getting to the point where we're caught up enough that we might even start phasing some out. So we're in a good spot.
Heck
Nice.
yeah. Good job,
Yeah.
boys at the shop. If y'all are listening, which I'm sure you'll listen now because Lane's on here. They're
Yeah.
probably looking at me and Owen on here before without Lane, like, yeah, we don't want
Yeah.
to listen to Blake. But no, so Lane, the other question I would have to ask is, so it's a question slash a statement. I think one of my favorite things, and I want to give a shout out to Dylan, is last year when we all came together, as in all of us pit crew guys, you as the road crew guys, you and Dylan, everybody, we were all kind of in this. I wouldn't say rookie season because some of us had different experience. Like I've been in the sport since 2014. It was literally like right after high school I got into racing. So I've got plenty of experience going to the track, but I'd never been with a group of guys quite like we have with the 34, like just the tight knit group. And it was really, really cool to see Dylan kind of take on the crew chief role. And I remember, I think it was after, I want to say Vegas, like our third race last year. I think you got caught speeding on pit road and it kind of diminished the finish, but we had an overall good piece. We were running like top 10, top seven roughly. And it was really cool to see the transformation Dylan went through last year, where he looked like at some points he didn't really know what the right call was, how to be confident, how to direct us. But then by like Darlington into Charlotte and Wilkesboro, he started like taking those steps where he really knew how to like make the truck better for you. And then by the end of the season, I mean, if we weren't in the playoffs, we would have been if we were in the playoffs, we would have had so much fun, being the Cinderella story almost. We were the young team, like nobody really took us serious in a sense, I guess would probably be the best way to word it. But I just know by the end of the year, everybody knew that the 38, when we showed up to the track last year, we were the 38 for everybody listening. This year, we are now the 34 truck. But every weekend we showed up last year, after we got that first win at Milwaukee, it was cool that everybody was like, here comes Lane Riggs. And then when we were on pit road, we knew we could lay down good stops. So amongst seeing Dylan become what he was and be a super confident crew chief and just take the reins, what was your favorite part of last year to this year, and what was your favorite win of the three we've had, if you can pick a favorite?
For me, I mean, your first is always super special, but
Right, but then
Bristol
you're
was Bristol,
the
yeah,
shoulder.
yeah, for sure. That wasn't that fun, that part of it, but
I figured not.
um, I think that they were all equally special, but Bristol was really cool. It's like we just won 2 in a row in the playoffs, like, and we didn't just like win, we spanked them,
Yeah,
and
yeah, we did.
they were
The
all
I
like they were salty after the race that we
I
beat them.
figured the Bristol win would probably be the top pick. One, it's Bristol. Everybody in NASCAR wants to win Bristol, but two, like the truck you had. I remember a couple of times you came over the radio and you were like, "This truck is so good." Like you were
Yeah.
just locked in. You could do whatever you want with that truck, right? Like I remember we came down, we made one pit stop. That's all you needed, and you just drove the wheels off of it to the front, and you just stayed up there. I
Yeah,
mean, the
for sure.
11 didn't have anything for you that night.
Yeah, for sure. Like I think we had like three restarts in a row with him, and it was
Just
just
spanked
like,
them every time.
yeah, I think his crew chief on TV. I remember going back and watching. He's like, "Yeah, we can only hope the 38 makes a mistake right here." Like that's all
Yeah,
he said. So just that kind of confidence, like winning in the playoffs, even though we weren't in it, it was still just fun to play spoiler, whatever they want to call it. But that progression, if we really look back at the first half of last year's season, like we floundered a lot, like just not know.
that's
I didn't know what to do. I mean, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to call it. I didn't know how to be better. Didn't know what to do, but like we pretended like we knew what we were doing, and we were doing the best we could. But at the same time, our results were showing that we didn't know what we were doing. So like,
I would even agree with that to a degree. It was just like there's so much to learn as a unit, like as pit crew to road crew to crew chief driver. Because I remember I've talked about this numerous times with people when they asked about how it was last year to this year, or just even going through the progressions of last year. I was like, dude, we had some bad luck. Like Daytona, we were pretty fast, wrecked on lap six. Atlanta,
mm,
almost the identical wreck happened last year, but we got, I think there was a penalty. Like I think Steven jumped off the wall and there were six guys over the wall. We were trapped two laps down. Never got to make that up.
yeah,
And it was like stupid little things kind of kept happening. Almost kind of how this year went, but I feel like we had so much more raw speed at every track we went to this year.
yeah,
Just we weren't able to get some of those wins.
we've almost been in contention about every race this year. I'd say
Absolutely.
I'd say, 4 out of 5 races we've been had a truck that like has a shot to win the thing. Like even the days like
Absolutely.
I remember Vegas this year, we ran like 15th all day. And all of a sudden at one point it was me and Chandler were running 1-2 and like
Yep.
up there.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's just I mean, for me as a driver, it's like last time, 80% of the tracks we went to, I've never seen in my life. Just,
Right.
trying to figure it out. Now, I've been to, 90% of the tracks we've been to. I've been to all the tracks that the guys last year saw and that have normally gone to. So it's like just showing up, having such little practice, knowing what I need, looking at my notes from last year. I didn't have anything from last year. It was like all just off the fly and looking at other people's and how they did. So now I got my stuff from last year to look at and say it just took some time and we knew it was
Yeah.
going to take a little while, but I'm just glad that we did end up winning last season. I mean, there's guys that raced for so long in trucks and never got a win. And like, I look at people like Daniel Dye and Taylor Gray that have like moved up to Xfinity. And I'm like, yeah, they moved to Xfinity, but I'm like, dang, I don't think either of them ever won a race. So
Right.
just for us to even do it in our period, and then second of all, in our first season, just yeah, just really showed how we were the most improved team. And that
Yeah.
was really cool.
100%. Yeah, I have to agree. It was I mean there was times last year even talking to Pop Tart when we were all kind of in hot water like after Texas, I know Steven had a loose wheel and we took that one on the chin. The flat tire at Charlotte that I briefly thought was another loose wheel in the rear. And I was like, we're getting fired. And then Steven came up to me after that.
Yeah.
He was like, no, it was a flat tire. You no, you came over the radio after you took the restart. Oh, yeah, I got a flat. So it was just we were I mean the water was boiling for us as the pit crew because we were like, we know we can do this. And it was just like I think the St. Louis race where we had Chris Lawson on the box. We did the two tire stop and he went out. I think we finished fifth or sixth,
Yeah.
and that was kind of the turning point. I really feel like that was where we started getting the finishes we deserved. And then
Mhm.
Dylan came back. I mean, the Pocono race was the only one I can remember after last year. It was just like, ugh, that was not a fun weekend for us. But every other race, when it was the truck series, we were fast. We had good pit stops. We all just it just clicked, and it just took some time. But Milwaukee was really cool. Definitely did not go to Milwaukee expecting a win, especially starting
Yeah.
like what was it, 16th? We started
Yes.
16th. I think we came down pit road first stop. We were P10, went out P5. We gained a lot of spots the first stop. I was blown away
Yeah.
by that one. And then we came down like third, went out second or something. And then you just drove by the 98.
Yeah.
Um, so crazy, crazy fun day up in Milwaukee. And then the shoulder issue that can't
Yeah.
go unsaid. It was just, I didn't even know what was happening. Like Steven somehow knew you'd hurt yourself, but I was like,
Yeah.
what
You
is
just thought he
Layne
was doing
doing?
like a cool victory
I thought
celebration.
he was some.
Yeah.
Honestly, God, I was like, is this guy doing
Yeah.
some kind of funny dance? Like, I
Well, I
don't know
think
what this
that some of
is.
y'all knew that I like had issues with it, like that y'all
I
knew
didn't.
about. You didn't know. I think some of you
No.
knew like that I've had shoulder issues before, and
Blake's known
Yeah.
for seeing medical emergencies and turning the other cheek. So
Yeah. I just kind
really,
of like,
do you have a
yeah,
personal experience there?
Yeah.
Some family stuff, yeah, that it's just like it freaks me out. But I didn't even
Oh my
register. It
God.
didn't register to me at all about like when you
Yeah.
put your arm up, and I'm like, "What's Lane doing?" And Steven jumped down, and was like, "Hey, come here, I got you." So that whole like
Yeah.
30 seconds was wild for me.
Yeah.
I'm
All
just
I
like,
gotta
I
say
don't know
is
what's
thank
going
God
on.
for adrenaline because it didn't really hurt that bad because
Yeah, right?
I was so jacked up. But
Hell
yeah, it was
yeah.
definitely something I won't ever forget.
That was a great day. And then go to Bristol. And I remember talking to Steven, Dan, and Alvin, and we were just joking. I'm like, I feel pretty good about today. Don't know why. Just I felt it like literally in my bones. I'm like, something feels good today, boys. Like, let's go get a win. And sure enough, you just drove right to the front and you're like, this truck's really good.
Yeah.
And then you just drove off into the sunset. You gapped everybody. And I was
After we
like,
qualified like 24th again.
yeah,
So
that was another funny thing. We qualified around where we did in Milwaukee, drove right to the front. And I guess that's a testament, one, to how good that truck was, how good you can drive, but also the truck series, you can qualify kind of bad as long as the setup for race trim is really good.
Mhm.
Because I mean, that thing was on rails, dude.
Yeah, for sure. And we really struggled with qualifying. Like we finally, obviously now we got our first pole. We kind of got it down pat, but um, the biggest thing is just when I qualify, I want it to be super like just tight and secure. Like I don't want it to get loose in qualifying. So like I remember Bristol, we practiced, it was all super secure, and then we went to qualify and I went down in the corner, turned the wheel, and the ASM was just like sideways. And
Oh,
I literally just I was holding the wheel straight for 2 full laps.
oh my
It
gosh.
was just understanding how much tighter I needed to be for qualifying.
Right.
They finally got it under control and got, like we take massive swings in qualifying. A lot of people don't realize how much you really adjust it for that because you got the tape on the front and aired up tires and just so much factors that you have to do to be fast for 1 lap. And you got to adjust for it to be able to hustle it and go fast for a lap. So I feel like now we finally got a good feel of like what my normal qualifying adjustments are.
Right. That's super cool. It's funny. So two things about that. One, me and the guys typically when we're headed to the racetrack, we're often this is for the viewers that get to listen. The picker guys typically aren't there, or we're getting close to the track, as in we've landed, we're heading to the racetrack. Um, so we're often watching qualifying on our phones in the van when we're headed to the track. Well, so we've gotten to the point where we know when Lane's gonna be I wouldn't say like you're bad at qualifying, but we'll start taking guesses like, hey, where do we think we qualify? Because we've gotten used to just not getting the pole.
They're
We're not
betting
like
money
a,
on you and
we're not a
25th,
team. We're not a team.
30th.
We're not a team that like qualifies necessarily like front row and then we run up front or we get the pole and then we run 10th all day. Lane's much more of a, hey, I'll qualify eighth and I'm going to drive it to the front. So we've gotten to the point where we're like, how do we think we're going to qualify today, boys? And then some of us still joke me like, Lane's going to come to us and be like, yeah, I missed it going into three, or like I overdrove to something. And more times than not, when we joke about that, we go to the track, we're somewhat close, but we don't have the pole. And then, like we talk about, Lane just drives to the front. So it's been this ongoing joke for the last year and a half, basically, that hey, if we qualify 10th to 15th, we're probably going to be there at the end to win the race. And
Yeah.
if we ever get a top five, like, okay, then that's out of the normal. But then to get the pole position this past weekend, go out and win, that was not our normal,
Yeah.
go-to game plan. It's like
Nobody
we're
gets
gonna
that, huh?
no, it's a like let's qualify eighth and just drive to the front by the end of the first stage and then hang out there.
That's
So
actually how I've always felt about qualifying. Like in the Cup Series, if the driver I like doesn't qualify great, I'm like, okay, well that was fine. Like especially at super speedways. But I mean, given Pocono this past week was the exception. Starting one, finishing one. But the statistic of somebody always finishing first, even starting on the pole, is pretty low. And also talk about the trucks, taking big swings on the setups. The way you qualify is so different than the way you
Mhm.
than you race. And so I don't know. Sometimes when I watch practice, I feel like practice is a bit more of a better test of the car. I mean, definitely better test of the car than qualifying. Because my wife,
Yeah.
she's like, why? She's a huge Chase Elliott fan. She's like, why is he starting 28th? I'm like, oh, I don't know, but like that doesn't mean much.
Yeah.
Like the race is a progression of the car getting better, hopefully. And so, yeah, I've
Yeah.
always not put a terrible amount of weight on qualifying as a fan.
For sure. And I think that's the right way to look at it. Like it's so different. Like
Hmm.
this past week in Pocono, everybody picked up a second and a quarter to a second and a half in qualifying. And we only get 1 lap. And
Yeah.
like, hey, like you go out here, like, hey, you're running 54 O's. You're gonna go out here and your target's a 52.50. And it's like, what? Like you gotta
we're
Yeah.
gonna
pick up a
gain that
second and a
much?
half. He's like, yeah. you're gonna drive in like example Pocono, the tunnel turn. Like in practice, you like fully lift, roll back to the gas, like you're fighting it. He's like, yeah, turn one, you're gonna drive in about 10 car lengths deeper, use about twice as much brake. And a tunnel turn, yep, you're gonna hold it wide open through there. I know you have never done that before, but in your qualifying run, you got to go hold it wide open. And then turn three, yeah, you're going to drive in 12 to 15 car lengths deeper and use no brake.
Oh my
Whereas in
gosh.
practice, you were using more brake. Yeah, and you got one lap and you got to do it all right now. And we're going to make 10 changes and you don't mess up.
Yeah.
It's like
Dang. So then,
qualifying is so complex. A lot of times, not a great judge. And I'll talk about that more in a second. But it's just like, even at the short tracks, it's the same way. Like sticker tires aired up with tape on the front. It just makes so much of a difference that you have to adjust to, and your qualifying driving is 100% different. You can't practice it. We can't practice qualifying in practice. And like practicing qualifying in the simulator really doesn't correlate that well for some
Mhm.
reason. So it's just super like on the fly, gutsy, go make it happen kind of thing. And like when the truck's secure and tight, you can hustle it hard. Um, but a lot of the times, like the mile and a half stuff, like you'll even see the Tricon trucks like not qualify good. Like I think Vegas is a good example of a track. Kansas, um, we hold it wide open in qualifying at those places. But in race trim, you're lifting a lot. So the guys that qualify up front are like trimmed out. We'll go fast in qualifying, but then it comes race time, you don't have as much downforce. So it's like you can't have both because you're impounded after qualifying. So
Yeah.
these guys that qualify on the pole at these
they
mile and a
sink,
half,
dude.
they sink and they suck during the race. So it's like we go to Kansas, Charlotte's not really one, but like Vegas, there's like two or three others that you pretty much flat foot it in qualifying. And we're like, if we're top 15, we'll be happy. And like
Right.
we're expected, like we go to Kansas, we're like 10th to 15th is our expected qualifying range. Like we don't expect to be on the pole because we like that's one of the tracks. If you go out there and you qualify on the pole, I'd come in and be like, uh-oh, like
Yeah.
this
We
thing's
did
gonna
something
handle like
wrong.
this thing's gonna handle like turd. So it's like you want
Yeah.
to qualify in that range because that just shows how much downforce you got over everybody. So it's like, a lot of the fans don't, the casual fans don't see that. They're like, oh, he qualified 15th. He sucks. It's like
Yeah.
they don't understand the trade-off there to a lot of the places.
Well, yeah, coming from the fan perspective, seeing that qualifying efforts and everything, I guess the question that came to my mind talking about qualifying was if you kept the same setup you had for qualifying, what would be the endurance of it in an actual race?
Maybe
Two
five
laps because
laps.
you're fully take 2 laps because you're fully taken off and the motor would blow up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we put
Yeah.
tape on the grill. We block the intake of the grill
hmm
off to the radiator because it creates more frontal area.
hmm
Creates more downforce, like a lot more front downforce.
Oh,
So, but you
dang.
can only run the lap because the engine's getting zero cooling.
So I shouldn't do that to my car.
Don't do that to your car. And
I'll
then
go
like
put the tape up.
the tire air pressures, like you go to the short tracks, you see, like it looks like everybody's left side tires are flat.
Yeah.
Um, we air them up. We air our tires up like 15, 20 pounds each tire just for qualifying because you're only making one lap. In the race, you start low, they build up to the optimal pressure. When you take off on cold tires at the optimal pressure, um, yeah, pretty much air pressure and tape wouldn't last. Like even if we
Yeah.
had to run 2 qualifying laps, like the second lap would be drastically slower than the first one.
Oh, yeah.
Mm, that's interesting. I wouldn't have thought it would take 2 laps. I would have thought by the third to fourth one it would really taper off. But
Yeah.
that's good
Well,
stuff, man.
like this weekend we left the pits at 90 degrees water temp, and when I hit the finish line, I cut it off and it was 230 degrees.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's
Dang.
pushing steam right there, man.
Exactly. So it's like you literally can't go 100 more feet or it'll try to start blowing up. So
Yeah.
That's
Well,
wild.
I have another question. You coming from short tracks, what's it like taking on some of these the bigger tracks in NASCAR? Because you don't see the big tracks in like late model series, obviously. And so, what's a mile and a half like for the first time? Is it intimidating? Is Bristol even intimidating?
yes, they were very intimidating. Going to my first one, it's crazy. My first ever mile and a half was in an Xfinity car at Texas
Okay,
back in
wow.
2023, which is like the worst track to go to. Um, so I wrecked in practice, wrecked in the race at Texas 'cause I didn't know what I was doing. But um, it's like this you first go out there and the speed, you're like, holy crap. Like that's the first time you go out there and you're like, we're going fast. Like
Yeah.
you're looking at the wall and you're like, say something happens, that wall is really close to you. So just doing that and just understanding the way the tires feel, the aero side of it, like the dirty air, especially for the trucks, they're the worst for dirty air,
Mm.
punching a hole in the air and like losing downforce. I mean, you get behind somebody close and you lose half your downforce. And
Oh
I mean,
gosh.
it's totally having to change how you drive around people. So it's like you can look at it all day and you can watch video and film, but like until you go out there and just do it and get experience doing that and getting comfortable with it is when you get better. But yeah, it was very intimidating at first. Super
Sure.
speedway racing, that was pretty intimidating. Like just you're three wide, holding it wide open, can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I adapted to all of them quickly, but it's funny. I'm the short track guy, which I mean everybody starts off as a short track guy,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
But for some reason everybody's always labeled me as Layne Riggs, the short track guy. Like that's been like my name.
Yeah.
Um, I actually this season, last year I was like, I wish we raced all short tracks, no big tracks. This season, I don't even want to go to the short tracks anymore. I just
Dude,
want to.
Martinsville
I
has
know,
been a pain in our
I
ass.
know. I don't even want to go to Martinsville. Like I've run
Martinsville seems like the most annoying race because you're
it
just
It's a
is.
constantly getting
demolition
hit.
derby. It's a
You just
demolition derby
yeah.
now.
And it's like you literally it's like do I if I don't run into the guy like say I let off the gas early and don't hit the guy in front of me, well the guy behind me is going to hit me and spin me. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you have to be aggressive and like push the guy in front of you because if not you're going to get run over and wrecked. But I've ran four national races there, one Xfinity race and three truck races there, and I've gotten spun in every single one of them
Mm.
so far. I've never ran Martinsville at a national level and not been spun.
I mean,
And it
dude,
is so frustrating.
look at the 11 this year. He had the car to beat, and they punted him into the
Yeah, they
pits.
just took him out.
It just said, "Screw this dude."
Yeah.
I know it's just it's so out of your I mean like I look at Daytona, Talladega, Atlanta kind of and Martinsville as the tracks that's not in your control. Like the
Mm,
only time that Martinsville is in your control is if you're far enough ahead of the guy behind you or leading that they can't get to you. But then you have
yeah,
a late restart and it don't matter how good you are, they're gonna get to you. So
Yeah.
um and of course the the last round of the playoffs before Phoenix is
Martinsville.
Roval, Talladega, and Martinsville. That is
Mm.
three wild card races if I've ever heard of some.
I
So
think
like
our game plan's got to be really dialed in at the Roval because Talladega is literally a toss-up, and then Martinsville is a
that's a
close
toss up
second.
too. I don't even know
That's
what to,
that's right behind Talladega, man.
I know. So it's like I just don't really know. Which I mean, I think being in the playoffs, if I'd assume we're still going to be in it at that point, would I think that they would maybe give you a little more courtesy, like, hey, this guy's in the playoffs, he's going for points, like, don't spin him out this time. This might be the
True.
one time I get a little courtesy on the track and I don't get wrecked.
Yeah.
Hopefully, cross my fingers, but um, yeah, I just hope we can run a little better. I think we haven't been that great at Martinsville, which is
Martinsville
fun.
is the one track I would say I thought we were gonna have better maybe consistency and stuff, but I don't think it was out of our control, like kind of how the races went. Like last year, the race Dylan was suspended for was the one race that really threw me off. I'm like, man, we just didn't have the truck that day. Like it was a day that was not like our norm, the 2 months before we went there after winning the two races, Milwaukee, Bristol, Kansas, we were fast. I'm trying to think of the other races in between there, but I just remember that was a day that we didn't have our normal speed. And then I remember I think we basically we didn't tear the truck up, but I remember the nose was pretty caved in when we
Mhm.
left there like, at the end of last year.
Yeah, for sure. That was definitely one of the ones that's like, man, that kind of sucks. And then we went to Phoenix which again super fast, but um, yeah, Martinsville's just tough. And it's funny because like in the late model days, I ran there. My first time ever at Martinsville, I was 16 in a late model, which I think I raced like four times there in a late model. And one of them I almost won. We ended up finishing third, but I literally led. It was 200 lap race. I think I led 125 laps of the race.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
and yeah, we like dominated that thing. And 2018, I qualified on the front row, second to Josh Berry, none other. Josh Berry was on the
Josh
pole.
Berry.
Josh Berry was on the pole, and I was second. He ran like a 1995, and I ran like a 1997, and then everybody else was in the 20-second range. So like, we thought we were what's up. Yeah, it's just yeah, Martinsville. Like I always loved Martinsville in the late models. Like you think like oh the redneck late model short track guys are so like rough,
Right.
That's the cleanest race they have there. Like they will run until a competition caution because they like don't create one. It's such a clean race.
Wow.
Man.
So it's just crazy. You go
Not
from that,
NASCAR.
yeah. Like I ran it as at the late model days, and it's like it felt like such a clean race. Everything's great, and then you show up in the NASCAR stuff, and you're just getting wrecked every lap. And it's like, what are we doing here, guys? So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, love hate relationship with the track for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not been very kind to us, that's for sure, over the last year and a half.
Well, I had another question. You kind of touched on it when you're talking about adjusting to these mile and a half tracks, but when we went to Pocono this week, and it's fun because my wife is kind of a new fan, so every time there's a track she hasn't really watched before, I get to show her all the big wrecks from the history of that track. So I was
Okay.
showing her Jeff Gordon's wreck at Pocono going into turn one, but the thought of, trying to just have empathy for Jeff, but just the idea of brakes going out to turn one of Pocono, but more of the idea of like when you're getting into a wreck, you just know you're wrecking. What's it like to just see the wall coming closer?
Oh shit. Like there's nothing you can really do. I mean, like say like you're spinning towards the wall,
Yeah,
like you're gonna do everything you can. You're gonna use the gas, you're gonna use the brake, you're gonna drive that thing all the way till you get to the wall.
yeah,
Just hoping that you can either not hit it as hard or try to somehow save it. Uh, but when you finally kind of make contact, like you're about to like slap it or like the wheel's about to whip, like usually you just kind of brace yourself. I
yeah,
do the chest crossed, but
yeah.
But
Part of me
like you
also,
hit the wall and then you're like off of it, and then you start driving it again. Like after
yeah,
you hit the wall. So
yeah. Part of me is like, if I just see it coming, like this is just gonna hurt. This,
yeah,
I can't
for
do
sure.
anything about it. You're literally strapped in. But then part of me is like, would you rather flip? That way, you're just in chaos the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dad said it the best way. I've never flipped, thank goodness, and hopefully never will. But um, I don't know if you've ever seen Dad's flip from Talladega, 2005. Make sure to look it up. 2005 Scott Riggs
Yeah,
Talladega wreck. And
yeah.
he literally
I probably
barrel
have seen it.
rolled up on his nose like
Oh
15,
gosh.
20 times. And I was like, how? I was like, did that hurt? Was it crazy? He's like, no, I just felt like I was on a roller coaster. He's like, I didn't feel like it hit anything. He's
Yeah.
like, like blowing a tire and hitting a wall at a short track is a harder hit than flipping. He's like, he's like, I think he blew a right front at Dover one time and hit the
Mm.
wall hard. And he was like that's not what you want to do. Walls don't move. When you're flipping, it's just dissipating energy through the air. You're not really like hitting anything. It's just
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
what hurt. But like
I
flipping fast,
can
spinning fast doesn't hurt.
I can attest to that because when I rolled my Jeep in
Oh yeah, that's
2020,
right. I
I
forgot
would
you did that.
I would pick that any day over smashing into a wall because I have rear-ended one person a long ass time ago, and then I rolled my Jeep. It was the day that COVID was announced in 2020, like March 16th or 17th. It was like St. Patrick's Day 2020. All I remember was there was a car in front of me. They came to a dead stop, and I was like, I'm gonna hit them. So I went towards the ditch, and then there was someone already in the ditch, which I guess is why the car was stopping in front of me. And I was like, I have to go through the ditch even farther now. And I got cockeyed, dug in the left front, and I rolled twice up into a telephone pole. And when I got out, this lady behind me in whatever vehicle she was driving, she ran up to me and she was like, "Oh my God, stay still. You've been in a bad accident." I'm like, "I'm fine. Like, I
Yeah,
know it looks bad, but I'm okay." And
for sure.
she was freaking out, man. But I remember talking to the family that night. I was like, I would gladly roll. If someone said, "Hey, you have to go be in a car accident. How would you like it to turn out?" I was like, "I'll just roll it." Like it
Yeah.
wasn't that bad. I jammed the shit out of my thumb. I remember my thumb was jammed for like a
Mm,
good 2 months because I guess it caught the steering wheel. Like the steering wheel probably jerked and then
yeah,
it hit my thumb. But
Yeah, you should have done
I
this.
mean,
Should have done
I
that.
yeah. You
remember,
should have done
I
that.
remember, I swear to God, I remember this going through my head, and y'all are gonna laugh at me. I remember the whole Ricky Bobby, like I'm flying through the air. This is not good.
During that.
That went through my brain when I was tumbling towards that telephone pole. I was like, I'm rolling my Jeep. Like I cannot believe this is happening. I was embarrassed because however many cars behind me were watching this
Just saw you.
idiot
Yeah.
just tumbling off in this field, like being extra dramatic. And I'm like, if only the people understood I was trying to avoid the person in front of me, and then there's another car already in this ditch, and here I am driving off into the
Look at this
grass.
a-hole in a Jeep trying to go off road.
You're
But
lucky you're okay though, because you don't have a helmet on, no
No.
seat. I mean, you got a seatbelt on that doesn't do anything.
well,
Yeah.
so here's something else, Lane. So our gas man Gaddy, Patrick Gaddy, he's my neighbor and he often rides with me either to practice or if we go do something. he likes to just hang out and be in the passenger seat. Well, he doesn't like to wear his seatbelt. And so I
Mm,
thought about it later. I was like, that dude would have been a human like wrecking ball inside my Jeep, like landing on me
yeah.
as we were tumbling around. I think I told him about it after it happened. He was like, "Holy shit, man, are you good?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm glad you weren't with me. You probably would have crunched me and killed me, just
Yeah.
falling over onto me." Because he's
Yeah.
like 6'4", 280. He's a huge human being. But
Yeah.
it made me laugh, and I was like, "Man, I'm gonna have to tell that dude. Anytime you ride with me, you're gonna have to wear a seatbelt. Because if we roll, I'm gonna get squished like Tom and Jerry in here,
Yeah.
and Sam's
For
gonna be
sure.
pissed at you that you killed me."
Yeah. Well, everybody wear your seatbelt. There's not
Absolutely.
the comfort of not having it on your neck doesn't mean anything if you're gonna die.
Absolutely.
It's
You
nothing to
could
mess
say,
with.
yeah, if it says, yeah, it's people don't realize how quickly things happen. It's
Well,
like,
also
oh,
wear the chest strap part because I was victim to that when we were young and in Florida, living in Florida. Lucy, go go. Um, yeah, well, I wasn't wearing my or the chest part of it, and we got into a
Oh
wreck,
yeah,
and
his
my
shoulder
head went
strap.
into the seat and hit the frame of the seat, and they thought I had fractured my skull. So I had to be airlifted. It was pretty cool. It's pretty sick.
I bet that was expensive, but yeah, I bet it was pretty sick.
I mean, I was like 10, so that was good.
Yeah, it didn't
He
matter to
doesn't
you.
remember. He
No, it
doesn't
don't matter.
remember it. He's got amnesia.
Yeah.
He doesn't remember shit.
Actually, no, there was some effects. I've never gotten any sort of like brain test after that. I was concussed. That was as far as it went, but my handwriting after that was just horrible.
That's not good.
Yeah, and
Not
I
good for
couldn't play
public
baseball. I
health.
remember like not comprehending I couldn't play baseball and stuff, but yeah, no, that's interesting. I've always, yeah, the wrecking part, it's when I show my friends who are like, they've never seen a NASCAR race, they'll always show a highlight of someone wrecking, or I'll just for fun show them a wreck. And like Ryan Preece at Daytona a couple years ago, vicious looking wreck. But and then you watch something like Ryan Blaney also a couple years ago at Nashville, he just kind of glides in almost to the wall and hits it. And he's like, that was the hardest hit ever.
Yeah.
And
Which got it's concrete too. He didn't have a
yeah.
safer bet. That
But
means
that's what's
everything.
crazy about Indy. I saw a picture of Indy. It's like their turns are safer barriers, but the straightaways are still just concrete.
Yeah,
So
which is wild. I can't believe that.
yeah,
Uh, now, especially, I mean, as much money as they have, you think they would have put safer barriers by now.
yeah, absolutely.
I'm definitely thankful for the era I race in for safety.
Hmm.
Um, Not as much of the racing. I wish I raced back in the 80s. I feel like I would have been a really good
Oh,
80s racer. Like 87, like I think I would have been a badass race car driver back then. But
hell yeah.
um yeah, thankful for the safety we have now. If we could have the 80s racing but new safety, that'd be really cool. But Dad talks about it too, and it was a little bit for him, even like with the early 2000s, with everything going on. And there was a little bit of a fear factor back in the day. Like, you look at, Dale and Richard Petty and all them, like, they were faster because they were more ballsy than everybody else.
Yeah.
Like, they had the guts to go drive down the corner. And, a lot of other people, they never admit to it, but they probably backed the corner up a little bit, drove it a little easier. Like, they're thinking about this wall, this concrete wall with no safety and my wife and kids at home. Nowadays you don't ever have that thought. Like, you're worried you're going to tear the truck up. You're not worried about getting hurt.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it was a fear factor of that was your limit of how fast you could go.
Hmm.
That was just a totally different era for sure and type of racing where you literally, depending on how hard you drove somebody or like the cleanliness of how hard you raced, like you don't see the crazy Hail Mary moves because there's a good chance you could put yourself, somebody else's life in danger. And I feel like that's not really a factor nowadays.
Yeah, I love
Absolutely.
seeing the old footage of the in-car cameras of just like way back in early NASCAR where they're just sitting on bench seats, just bouncing, just driving
Yeah.
Yeah.
it. It's
Just
like,
And
like
they were
driving a
going just
boat.
as fast as we are now. I mean, they were
yeah,
literally 200 something at Daytona and Talladega, which is
it's
insane.
crazy. Yeah, I would love
Yeah.
to see some medical reports of like modern day medicine going back and looking like, yeah, all these guys have horrible CTE.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
But
sure.
yeah, I always ask this question, or I'm starting to ask this question, at least on Poppin' Top with people. But what's your favorite paint scheme, NASCAR paint scheme?
Hmm.
Which I do have to say, I looked up I looked up you and I looked up your dad. I already knew y'all's history, but just kind of refreshing last night. But I didn't know, and I'm glad I looked this up. Your dad drove the Nesquik 10 car because that was
Yep.
one of my favorite schemes as a kid.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. It's hard to go wrong with the bunny. I
Oh my gosh, yeah.
actually did a late model throwback to that car.
I did see an image of that, and I was like, I would have absolutely done that as well.
That's
Yeah, that was
sick.
pretty cool.
His Valvolines were also cool as well. I'm a sucker for Valvoline schemes.
Yeah. He had a pretty, yeah, for sure. Like they were always like very patriotic.
Hmm.
I don't know. I've never been like a huge die cast paint scheme lover. Like
Mm.
I care
You just
about
want an
what
all
it
black
is.
truck and a number
It
on this.
doesn't matter what it is as long
Lane
as
just
it's
wants
fast.
it to be fast. He's
Yeah.
like,
Exactly.
does it
Like
go fast?
yeah, everybody's like, "Hey, you like your paint scheme this weekend?" I'm like, I don't really care what it looks like. I could it
I
could
can't
be
really see it
it
inside.
could be straight up. It could be pink. I could care less.
I can
As
tell you
long
the
as it's
ones I
not,
hate.
yeah, for sure. But no, I've just never really had a passion for like caring what the paint scheme is or like having
Mhm.
a. I mean, there's sure there's like the iconic ones, like the go-tos, obviously the 3 and the 43, and Jeff Gordon's like the one behind you. Like
Absolutely.
those are always going to be just the ones that are always just the go-tos.
Hmm.
Uh, but like over that, I don't really like have a super deep passion for paint schemes and the resemblance of them.
Yeah.
Lane, I'm gonna be very honest with you. I think you just broke part of Owen's heart.
No,
Owen
it's
loves
fine.
paint
It's
Sorry.
scheme.
whatever. You know.
I'm sorry, man.
He
Well,
he grew
hey,
up in the industry. It's
when you're sitting in the race car, you can't see it, so it doesn't matter.
exactly.
You
I
can't.
get it.
Yeah, when you're sitting in there, you can't tell what color it is. You don't know what it looks like or anything.
Listen, I would be
Everybody else
really
can.
slow, but my paint scheme would look sick as hell.
Well, I gave us a shout out. I was like, dude, the bear. It's actually on my background right now. It's us in Victory Lane the other day. Um, the bare knuckle brawl paint scheme is pretty sick. That's probably one of my favorites that we've had, and I gotta say that actually might be my favorite because I'm a sucker for black, dude. Like
Yeah,
black paint schemes or even like the black fire suit. I wish we got to wear that with you. I would love that. That'd be sick.
yeah,
Um, I don't know
for
what the
sure.
whole deal with the limits on fire suits this year that NASCAR the rule that they came out with, but if we had a bare knuckle brawl fire suit, I would probably steal it, and Angie would be like, "Blake, where's your fire suit?" I'm like, "I'm
Yeah,
keeping
You
it."
gotta brawl me over there.
Yeah.
sure. And it's pretty cool because it's black and red, and it's got the knuckle on the side under the number.
Yep.
Um, and then the red, if you see where the black and the red meet, it's like kind of splattered. It's supposed to look like blood. Like the
Oh,
red.
that's what the
Nice.
splatter is.
Yeah, the
Nice.
splatter is blood splatter, which
Nice,
is pretty
nice.
cool.
It's
Yeah,
a
it's a
kick-ass looking truck, dude.
yeah. If you look them up online though, like their social media and stuff like that, bare knuckle boxing, like it resembles their brand very well. So
Well, so can you tell me there was a rumor I was told that someone was originally creating a paint scheme for them and then they like canned it. They're just like, we're not doing that one. Like, did you hear a story about that?
I didn't. I mean, it might have happened and I didn't hear about it,
I
but
swear someone was telling me they're like, hey, this is like some of the concepts, and they showed somebody and they're like, all right, I'm gonna call you back, man. I gotta tell this guy like we're not doing this paint scheme because it
yeah. I
made me
mean,
laugh. And like the one that they obviously the one we've raced at Rockingham and then Pocono is I was like, this thing looks great. I don't know what the original concept was,
yeah, I don't either.
but this
Which
was
it's always in the sponsor's hand. I mean, literally, they pay for it. They can make it look like
yeah.
whatever they want it to look like. So, sometimes even the sponsors, like the Infinity Communications scheme we had last year, the blue and the black and the orange and all, that was Infinity and their graphic designers that designed
Nice.
it. And they sent it to Front Row and said, "This is what your paint scheme is going to be."
Oh
Obviously, we
wow.
have stuff that we have to have, like the number font and stuff like that. But it's then you have like the other options where it's like Front Row designs it and then it gets approved by the sponsor. So it's like, but in the end, the sponsor has all control over it. They can make it look like whatever they want to.
Yeah,
Um,
right on.
so
I mean,
it's
it's their brand. You gotta like
it's their
let them do.
brand. It's the way they want to represent it, and like I said, they're paying for billboard space, and they can
Absolutely.
make billboard look like whatever they want it to look like.
That was going to be a question I had was how much of a say do you have? So yeah, that answers it because I
Now,
have
I
always
have
wondered that.
zero say. I have no say what it is. The only thing I could have a say is finding a different sponsor and like finding
Yeah.
the sponsor that I would want to be their colors. But
Yeah.
um, I might could have some influence on it, but I want to stay totally out of that, unbiased. Whatever you guys are happy with, I'll drive the wheels off of it.
There you go.
hell
That's a
yeah.
good attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. I don't know if I have any more questions for Lane. Oh, and you got any more?
What do you do with your sword from Bristol? I
Yeah,
know
where's
Blake
yours
goes
at?
to a Wendy and
It
gets some
is.
free food with it.
I have a shrine from last year, 2024 shrine. It has two win trophies, the sword, my rookie of the year trophy, the win die cast, the checkered flags, the champagne bottles. It's on a
Hmm.
table.
And
But
every
new
week you're
problem
just
now,
like sitting at it.
my
We got a new
table,
shrine.
yeah, my table's full. I don't have anywhere to put my new trophy. So it's sitting it's at the shop right now. I haven't even took it at home yet because I don't have anywhere to put it yet. So, um,
Mhm.
Yeah,
good
we asked
problems to
Angie
have.
about that.
Yeah.
We were like, "Can we get a replica trophy, Angie? Like, let us know how much it costs." So
There's do you know there's actually Milwaukee trophy? Did you get one?
I did get one. It was like totally out of the blue. I happened to go by the shop to pick up my equipment for practice, and they're like, "Oh, hey, did you get your Milwaukee trophy?" And I'm like, "We have Milwaukee trophies?" And so they
Yeah.
walked over there and handed me one. It's got a granite base, and it's
Yeah.
got the union worker.
We have like 6 to 8 extras. Um
Really? Did everybody
so
get one?
I hope they did.
I need to ask everybody to make sure they got one. I mean, shoot,
Yeah.
we should just give one to like Landon or something. Like, hey man, I know you weren't a part of it, but
Yeah,
you're
for
part of the
sure.
team now. You
Yeah,
know.
for sure.
That's awesome.
No, it
Yeah, I
was a
would
good
walk
time.
around with that all day. Just don't
Maybe
Yeah,
we'll
mess with
send one
me.
to Owen. Owen,
Yeah.
what's your address? Let's get Owen a
Yeah.
Milwaukee trophy.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're like in the office and they're like in boxes, like still sitting there waiting to get taken, but nobody's taken them yet. So
Huh.
I don't know. It's not my problem.
Yeah, seriously.
I got the
Why?
real one.
I told Blake I'm trying to come to the Darlington race, so if I come, I expect a trophy to be sitting in your pit stall.
That would be
I'll
You know
grab it
what?
and just walk away.
Just because you're going, I'm gonna try a little harder.
There we go.
yeah.
I was
He
there
did
in
tell me that.
Daytona, and I was really rooting
We
for you.
Well,
But
thank you.
we were fast in
We really
Daytona.
had a shot at that one. Like we took the white flag at Daytona in third. It's
yeah,
like I remember like I usually don't get worked up behind the wheel. Like I'll stay pretty calm. Like I get in situations and kind of my heart rate gets up. But I remember I took the white in third, pushing the leader, and my heart was going like just fluttering. And I remember like having to breathe, like calm down, calm down, calm down. Like, oh, like that was
gosh,
probably the most like tense, worked up I've ever been behind the wheel
It's
before. Like
Daytona, dude. Like,
exactly,
who's
because
not
you're like
excited?
wide open, like just doing everything you can. Like I don't know what to do next. Like, do I push him? Like, there's so many situations going through your head, and like you're like, it's Daytona, and first win, like it would just be huge.
yeah.
And you're either gonna do right or you're gonna screw it up in the next 30, 40 seconds. So
Yep.
Do you ever have a moment in the truck where you're racing at a place like Daytona, something that's just an iconic track? And I'm sure the truck you get really focused, but are you ever like, holy, like, wow, I'm racing on Daytona right now?
yeah, my first ever time there was actually in an ARCA car,
Oh,
because you
okay.
had to do the ARCA test to get approved for racing at bigger tracks.
Yeah.
Um, I remember like the first lap out there, I was like shifting and I like went through, I get like landed into turn three and I looked over and like Daytona passed me on the wall. I was like, holy
I'm
crap.
here, man.
I'm
Like,
at
I made it.
Daytona. Yeah,
That's
like I was
cool.
like, we're actually at Daytona right now.
That's
In the
cool.
first lap, I was like, oh my God, we're going so fast. And in the second lap, I was like, this is boring. Like,
The
I
just
was
the
like,
shift in mindset, you're like, wow, this is nothing.
yeah, when you're by yourself and you're holding it wide open, it is the most grueling, boring thing you've ever done. Like it takes more skill to run down I-40 than it does run around Daytona for for a couple laps.
It
Like a
That's
honestly
single
makes
car
sense.
runs, like if you ever get on iRacing and like just runs like go run 5 laps at a super speedway
It's
by yourself.
boring. I can
Like
actually
it is
attest to that.
so bad.
I
I
would
did that
skip
a few months
qualifying in the
ago.
games, honestly, because I was like, you know what? First off, it's a game. Secondly, it's a really boring, and I don't even know how to make up time because it's just
Yeah, for
I
sure.
don't know
It's
where I can make that up.
even like qualifying at super speedways, like you only do 1 lap and it's like you're going down the back stretch, you're like, can I just get out? Like this
Yeah.
is so grueling.
Yeah,
Um,
it's actually funny you say that. I did that usually each week after we go to whatever track or the week before. I'll like buy the track or I'll hop in the truck or something and I'll try it out and see what y'all are seeing. And I remember doing the Daytona stuff and I'm like, man, by myself on Daytona is pretty lame. Cause see, growing up
yeah.
playing NASCAR Thunder, you don't even have like I didn't race in like the cockpit view. I raced on
Well,
the
we would
back.
turn around and go backwards.
You
Yeah.
did that. I would race like on the back view of like the deck lid of the car,
Yeah.
and so you've got like all these people around, you can see everything, but being in the cockpit and driving like on iRacing, I'm like,
Oh my
this is
God.
pretty like shit. Like I'm literally driving one-handed with the just gas pedal just smashed. Like I'm playing GTA. Just like
Yeah.
Yeah.
whatever.
Dude, it's the
Like
exact same way in real life, I'm telling you. It's actually the exact same
Just a
way.
lot louder and a lot hotter.
yeah.
Just a lot louder and hotter, but like it's the same thought process. Like, yeah, I'm going fast, but it doesn't feel like it. You
So
Yeah.
know?
do you not like super speedway racing then because of that? Or in pack racing it is kind of fun?
No, pack racing is I really don't have a great judge. I mean, I did 6 laps of Daytona.
And then
Uh,
60 laps
and then
at
I did
Talladega.
the Talladega race. I mean, um,
Got almost to the end.
we almost got to the end, got wrecked. The Daytona this year, I mean, I feel like we did a pretty good job. I just need to do it more, but it is, I mean, the best way to describe it is white knuckle racing. Like you're not doing much driving, but you're just doing so much, like just of
Yeah.
what's going on, like bouncing around and deciding what lane to go to, like, and you really can't see anything. Like, like iRacing and NASCAR games. Like when you're at a speedway, you're like, oh, here comes the line, like go up. Like when you're in real life, you literally can't see anything. I mean, imagine you have a blinders on like this, and then your rear view mirror, you can't see over the spoiler. So you can't
Right.
see out of the rear view mirror.
So see,
So
I actually noticed that in iRacing, they have that virtual camera, and I'm like,
yeah,
that's fake. I'm taking that off. But then with the actual camera or the mirror that's in your truck, I'm like, you can't see shit over that thing.
no, and it's even worse in real life. Like the rear view mirror is basically worthless in real life. You can't
So
see.
why do we have it?
It sometimes like if somebody's like pushing you, you can see their roof,
Right.
but that's literally it. In
Mm.
late model racing, most people run clear like Lexan spoilers. I
Oh,
would
that
say
makes
we ran
sense.
those, and you could see through them. So
Yeah,
I
that
really
makes
don't know
perfect
why we
sense.
don't do that. But yeah, I mean, it's so crazy how much you really rely on the spotters, and it's like I said, the casual fan doesn't understand that at all. They're like, he saw him coming, or like he saw him doing something. It's like, no, he didn't. He actually didn't see him at all. It was a
Yeah.
guess,
Yeah.
and it was based off of what the spotter said.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so it is very
Shout
horse.
out to Spotter Josh for being there for
Spotter
you.
Josh, yeah, good job, Josh. But like even iRacing, you play like there's so much FOV, like in
Yeah,
real life, it is
it's not
literally
like that.
imagine doing your hands like this. Like this is what you can see. So it's just so
That's
much
intense.
different. And to really like you have to do it in real life to really understand that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've always told my friends who are watching it, trying to do my best to explain and try to give them kind of a view as much as I can from what I've learned. But like my biggest thing is like y'all's seats are just so padded and your
Mhm.
helmets are, I told them like drive with a helmet on, then just can't turn your head at all.
Yeah,
And
you literally like I have like when I'm sitting there, I have a eighth inch on both sides. I can literally
gosh,
do my head like this, and then the Hans let you turn it just like that
just a little
much.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
so you're like up and down, you can look, but like you're pretty much locked in. So
Yeah, because it does seem easy. It's like, oh, there's this stereotype of, circles, but I'm like, nope. Like, sure, it's circles, but like everyone's just all out next to you. It's hot for one. It's probably just annoying to get bumped, and then also you just can't turn your head. And
yeah,
for
you
me, I
can't
would
like do
feel
this and turn
claustrophobic.
around and look behind you. Like
Yeah, I do that on the
Let me
interstate.
see
on
if
the
the
outside,
11,
you just look.
let
Yeah,
me see
yeah,
if Chandler's over there to help me out.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, hey, come
Yeah,
here.
there are some times where I'm like, how did y'all see the other truck? Because I mean, I can when y'all are like going to the pit during like a green flag pit stop, put your hand out the window. Like, how do they see this half the time? Because it's just like no one has any movement in their truck. It's
Yep,
crazy to
for
me.
sure. No, it's
Yeah.
good questions and stuff to talk about that a lot of people don't really understand, and I don't
Hmm.
really speak about too
that's
much.
why we have the podcast, man. Hopefully they'll
Exactly,
listen.
Yeah.
exactly.
All right.
Now you know.
Last
Yeah.
question I think I got for Lane. Lane, what is the hottest race you've ever ran, or the race that when you got out you just felt heat exhaustion to the full extent?
Yeah, in the late model days, it was literally called the Hampton Heat, in Langley, Virginia. It's like middle of August.
Okay.
During
Oof.
the day. It's like 250 laps at a short
Gosh.
track. Like nobody has cool shirts or nothing. It was like I had a little helmet fan, and that was it. I remember getting like the last 15 laps was like, please let this thing be over. Like I do not want to finish this race. Like I was starting to get a
Hmm.
little delirious. Like I wouldn't say hallucinations, but like you're like, okay, it's it. And then I
Gosh.
got out and it was super winded and just hot, but I was okay. The worst though was 2023 at Texas, that Xfinity race, my first ever mile and a half race I ran. I had a cool shirt on, but I had like instead of a helmet fan, I had like one of the AC boxes. And it was like literally over 100 degrees, like on the forecast that day,
Mm.
humid, like it was brutal. Sun fully out and the air conditioning box actually broke. And instead of blowing air condition, it wasn't just blowing no air condition, it was blowing heat to my head. And I couldn't
Wow.
turn it off. It was just blowing heat on my head. I couldn't reach the back to get it off my head. But I had the cool shirt blasting. Um, I got out
Gosh.
and I literally just like sat next to the truck, like the car, and was like laying on the ground, like
Holy shit,
I
dude.
need help. I
I
need
think I would have
help.
purposely wrecked at one
I
point.
think I would have just
Yeah.
came down pit road and be like, I gotta hop out
Yeah.
and get
So
some air.
it was caution 15 to go. And I said, how many more laps is it? And the spotter's like, 15 laps to go. And I was like, okay. And he said, are you gonna make it? And I said, I think so. And like I don't even remember after that. Like I
Just
don't remember much of,
blanked.
yeah, I don't remember much of the race after that. But they got out and they realized it was heat on it because I was like, my shit quit working. And I was like, it just quit working. And then they realized they felt it and it was blowing heat. They took a thermometer, it was 140 degrees blowing into my head. So literally imagine a hair
Just had
dryer.
a yeah,
You have
just
a
had
hair
an
dryer
oven
strapped to your
on.
head. Yeah, and the inside of the car was like 130, 120 because you had a right side window. And it was the middle of
Gosh.
Texas in August, September, 100 degrees outside. Like I thought I was gonna die.
So
Like
the
I
only story I could even match that with, and granted, this is different pit crew guy to driver. Chicago 2018. So this was Chicagoland. This was not the Chicago street course. Chicagoland 2018. It was like July, I think, June or July. Heat index was 109, which I never knew Chicago got that hot. So that the week going into the race, didn't think anything about the heat. I was just like, it's gonna be like 87, 90. It was
Mhm.
109. I think the actual temperature outside was like 99 to 100, but it says it feels like 109, 110, something like that. And in the cars was 151. Like I have a video of someone recording on their TV, and
Yeah,
I was on TV too with like a cold rack on my head. Like I looked red and pink as my
yeah,
hair. Like I was just one color. I was so
yeah.
red. And I remember that day, I like kind of the same thing you said, like after that last 7 lap or 15 laps to go. The last year, you don't even remember it. I don't even remember what happened. I remember we got told something was up with the car. We needed to make a quick stop with like 3 laps to go. We pitted, and I don't remember anything else. I don't remember packing up. It was just like the weirdest day. I've
Uh,
never experienced like the extreme heat
yeah.
like that.
Gosh.
And I
Imagine
don't
being in
know.
the car. Like
I don't want to be honest. It was
yeah,
miserable on pit road enough. And I saw like I think Chase Elliott, Allgaier, they all got out of the car and they just looked dead. Like they were zombies, man. And that's the one thing I know NASCAR doesn't want to put their guys through, but that's one thing I always give a testament to. Like some drivers say they're not very athletic, but they've got a certain skill set to do this. I'm like, if they can put themselves through that, you're an athlete. Like that takes
Yeah.
yeah,
dedication to get through that.
for sure. I think it's just the biggest part is just like, sure, I can't go throw a baseball or lift, 200 pounds, like, but the things like that, driving, and even like the truck races, like when things are going right. You see all like it's funny, like I see all my competitors like just grinding in the gym, like doing the saunas, doing all this, and, like, and they get out and they're always like they look super tired. And I get out and I'm like, I feel great. Like I could run a whole
He's
nother
just built
race.
different,
I
guys.
swear, like I really think like my body has some kind of like tolerance built up to heat and like maybe the way I drive. Like I think those guys like they really get too aggressive behind the wheel. Like they grip the wheel too tight and they're like driving too hard. We're like, I'm like just like really relaxed in the seat and just like really driving gentle. Like, I feel like I save so much energy. Like I don't use much energy to drive. Like, I just feel like
Oh,
I'm
that makes
very
sense.
relaxed. And these guys are like up on the wheel and tense and like just wheeling it the whole time. Like I don't think I have to do that. So like I always get
Right,
out, even on hot days. Like sure, it's like I'm a little hot, but like I don't feel like wore out ever.
right. Yeah.
That's me
Now,
at the
Owen, did
GoPro
you?
Motoplex.
Yeah, yeah. I know I get wore out there on my go kart.
Okay. Okay,
I
that's
got
good
one
to
of the,
know then.
I
I feel
got one
better
of
about
the.
myself.
Okay, I got one of those two-stroke go karts. I was actually going to go ride it today, but I thought better about it when I saw the temperature outside.
No,
Um,
you'd have
Yeah, y'all
passed
gotta have
out,
it hot
man.
over there. It's like 70s over here right now.
no, I'll run like 8 laps and I'm like falling out of the seat in one.
Gosh.
Like
Well,
that
yeah,
is the hardest ever.
well, with Blake's bachelor party, we took him to GoPro Motoplex, and that was like I remember coming out after the handful of laps you do there, and my finger, the joints, it was just hurting to just move them. And I was like, oh, what's it like in 200 laps in a truck? But you're talking about being relaxed. Do you still have that same feeling, or
Sometimes like my fingers get a
you're
little
probably
cramped.
used to it also too?
Yeah, I like I said, I just think like the go-kart stuff doesn't have power steering, doesn't like
Mm,
have all this stuff. And the biggest thing is like for the seats now is they're so like full containment seats. Well, you don't have to like hold yourself up. You don't have to like have a
that's true.
core to hold your body up. Like back in the day, you go in the corner and the drivers would have to hold their body to the left. Like me, I literally just sink in the seat and just like lay on the seat and just drive.
That's nice.
Like the only thing I'm using is my arms. I don't have to like use my core and my neck and my body to like hold my body up.
Yeah.
Um, it was definitely more physical before the full containment seats, but
Mhm.
obviously safer now.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I have had go-kart experiences where I had like the seat just wouldn't adjust, so I had to like pull
Oh
on the
yeah, where you're
steering
like your
wheel
whole
as well as
body's pulled
turning.
forward.
Yeah, I actually hurt my back really bad because I just sent it into a chicane in one of the tracks, and I nailed the wall just parallel with it, nailed it, and my back just hit the bucket of the seat, like the side of it, really hard, and I was like
Yeah.
out of breath. I think I was racing a NASCAR driver at the time, like he was coming up through the ranks.
I'm pretty sure I know what
It
day
was at
you're
like a
talking about. Was it at GoPro?
no, this was at a friend's birthday party at the pit in Mooresville, for one. But
Oh,
one of her friends, I can't remember his name. He was like in the NASCAR development program, and I was like trying to keep up with him, which was a horrible idea.
maybe it was Layne. Who knows?
And so,
It
yeah,
wasn't me.
yeah, I got
Promise
out
you,
and
it
was
wasn't
like,
me.
"Yep, that was good. Yep, what was my time?"
That's awesome. Now,
Yeah.
Owen,
Yeah.
did you have a question for Lane about the schedule? Was that one thing you wanted to ask him?
I mean, it kind of is a bigger question, so I don't know if it's great to ask now, but I was wondering your opinion about, and Blake and I have talked about this. The NASCAR schedule is just huge, especially at the Cup level. It's huge. It's long. It's gosh, I can't imagine working it. Um, and the trucks is shorter, but like the actual length and stuff of the schedule, if it was shorter, do you think that would be better? Is kind of what it gets to.
Um, no. You know,
Oh,
I like the seasons being long. I'll keep it short. I like I wish it was more consistent. Like the past 7 races before, I think we had a weekend off before Pocono, but before that, we raced like 7 weekends in a row. And then after Lime Rock this weekend, we're gonna be 3 weeks off.
yeah, Blake said that
So
yesterday.
I would just like rather take the whole season, so say we run 25 times and like break it up and say, okay, you race every other weekend and then every 3 races you race back to back. Like just
Yeah.
have it consistent, broken up. Which right now it's like bang, 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 break, bang, 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 break. Like it just doesn't make much sense.
Do you get out of
But
a rhythm with like a 3 week break, or do you go race a
um,
go-kart to keep that rhythm?
no, I do wish I raced every other weekend at least. You know, I like a weekend off, but you know, you get 2 and 3 weekends off, and it's
You
like
want like a Larson schedule?
yeah, I mean, I am gonna actually go run a late model race at Hickory Speedway. Maybe that's in August.
Nice.
Yeah, that's not during our 3 weeks, but I do run some late model races in between to just go have fun and try to stay fresh. But yeah, for the trucks at least, it may be the Cup Series. I think they deserve a weekend or two off more often.
Yeah.
I
But at least
agree.
for us for the trucks, I wish that we had a little bit more consistency to our schedule.
That's a great point. Yeah, our father, he's kind of was in it for a little bit, and then seeing Blake, and it is one of those things like I've worked in the film industry for the past 3 years, and there is some similarities to where like intense schedules are great for the people who enjoy the outcome of it, the fans, the viewers. But for the internals, it really causes a lot of problems. I know a lot of guys who can't have healthy marriages because they're just always working, and I kind of see those similarities in NASCAR. So, from a fan perspective, yes, I wouldn't want the NASCAR schedule to be shortened because I just want racing all the time. But also having that foot of seeing the people's lives on the interior, I think NASCAR would honestly benefit at some points of giving those breaks, especially not only to their drivers but to the internals, and maybe some people would be more happy on the inside. And that was just kind of something we talked about, and it is interesting to get it from your perspective as well.
Yeah. And I've never raced like the Cup Series schedule every weekend the whole
Yeah,
season.
yeah,
So
that's definitely intense.
yeah, I can see where getting burnout happens quick. Like even after the 7, I was kind of like, right after I was like, I'm glad to have a break.
Hmm.
But then after the 1 week, I was like, man, I'm ready to get back to the track. Like
Yeah.
I want to keep racing. So selfishly, I want to always race. Um, but knowing we're not going to race that often for us, like I said, I want the consistency. In our schedule to make it easier for the shop guys. Because talking about the inventory, we get to the end of that 7 week stretch. I mean, say we race 5 mile and a halves in there, and we got 3 good mile-and-a-half trucks, and we wreck 2 of them. Like,
Yeah.
what do we do? I mean, we got to just start running stuff that we know is not our best stuff just to make it to the track. We don't have time to fix it. And then, like, you look at the late model days, like the Cars Tour, they run every other weekend or every 2 weekends
Mm,
consistently. They never race back to back that often.
yeah.
Unless it's like a weird scenario. And that's just because these late model guys, they only have one car and they race that same car at every track. So if they wreck the week before, they know they're not going to be there the next week if they wreck. So they always give them a week off to fix their stuff
Yeah.
to be back in this race.
Smart.
Yeah. It's a huge industry, and so I don't envy the people having to schedule, but it does raise. I do kind of see the question of with shortening, also with NASCAR trying to penny pinch, it's like, oh, if you shorten it, there's just not as many natural resources, and teams aren't having to pay as much, which there's a balance to that as well. But yeah, it was something that we talked about, and yeah, it's definitely. I don't
There's
know if
pros and
NASCAR.
cons to both.
Yeah, I don't know if NASCAR would ever shorten. It would be kind of a weird thing, but yeah, they're
I've
not
always
ever.
been I've
Huh?
always been a fan of the idea of doing Truck Xfinity Cup, maybe even ARCA for like 3 straight weeks, week off, or 4 straight weeks, week off, but do them all together all the time. Like it's always like a traveling circus and a giant family.
Yeah.
But I also know some tracks can't hold all of us at the same time. Bristol can't, Martinsville can't. You'd have to have guys pushing their trucks like up and down the hill at Martinsville, up to the top of the hill, where the haulers are. So
Yeah.
logistically, it could be a big nightmare. But I've always thought that would be really cool if somehow you could have it almost every week. You have all 3 races to get like the biggest bang for your buck when it comes to being a fan, right? You pay for X amount of money for your family to go, but you're getting 3 races Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or doubleheader Saturday and then one race Sunday, whatever the case might be. I thought that would be really cool, but I think that's so much easier said than done.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
but well,
So
I
yeah,
think I don't know if I have any questions for you,
I'm out
Lane,
of
man. Like, I
questions.
mean,
I explained everything so well. There's no more questions, right?
yeah,
Exactly.
I finished my Bud Light. That's already 3. I'm probably gonna go
Yep.
drink a fourth.
Oh,
I'm done with my margarita, so I've got
that's
to go fill that back up.
Yeah, maybe that's how we'll end every episode with Poppin' Top. Is like, hey, you done with your drink yet? Like,
Yeah.
you
I've
know.
been done with mine. I chugged it right at the
Well, you
beginning.
drank like a 12-ounce can, Owen.
I should just
Go find
shotgun.
go find your Mexican Coke. Go start
It's
drinking
still right
that.
here. I haven't popped it open yet.
But
I can't
no,
shotgun
Lane,
this one.
Lane, thank you so much for coming and hopping on,
Yeah,
man.
man.
Like
Thank you.
Yeah,
it's
glad I
been
could be here to talk about the nitty-gritty stuff and not really be rushed. So, um,
absolutely.
Yeah,
yeah, I'm looking forward to this weekend, and hopefully we can go back to back again. I've only ever been back to back winner before, so let's just
Well,
keep
I know
that.
you can do it, dude. We saw you at Coda last year do it until the electrical issue, and I'm kind of sad I won't be there in person to help hang out and have a good time, but I know you can do it.
Yep,
But
for sure,
yeah.
man,
for
If you
sure.
need any
I
tips
wish
on
we were
Lime
doing live.
Rock, I've raced Lime Rock quite a bit in Forza.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
just
Send me
call
your
Owen.
notes, though. I actually have some notes right here from the simulator on things I got to do better. So, yeah, doing the best I can to perform.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Good
Good
luck
stuff,
this
man.
weekend. Yeah, definitely rooting for you.
Yep. Thank you,
Definitely.
guys. So this was fun, and yeah, we'll pop top some other time.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. Hopefully, it's after a win this coming weekend too.
Yeah.
Plan.
Yeah.
All right,
Hopefully, I
Lane.
can see you at Darlington if I do come. If I can make it work. I'm trying to
Yeah.
do a little documentary for Blake right now, so see if
Yeah,
that
Oh,
happens.
be
nice.
really
Looking
cool.
forward to seeing
But
that.
Yeah, man.
well, Lane, again, thanks for coming on, and we'll get them at IRP together.
Yep. Sounds good. All
All
right.
right, see you,
Appreciate it,
buddy.
guys. Thanks to all the listeners.
Yeah,
See you,
man.
man.
Thank you.
All right. Later, guys.